This is interesting. Why? Houses in this place are built with plastic bottles by these guys.
Hello, this is John Mary Kavma, the founder and CEO of UpCycle Africa.
I'm David Mande, the Field Operations Officer and co-founder UpCycle Africa business.
At UpCycle Africa, we are constructing houses out of plastic bottles while promoting capacity building and entrepreneurship in green business. Starting UpCycle Africa was from a personal story. I grew up as a poor orphan in Uganda with my poor grandmother in a remote and rural village. However, one day something bad happened. Our house collapsed and my grandmother died from the injuries she suffered. I also got injuries on my head and a broken right arm. Police report shows that it was but the trench next to our house was really accumulated by a lot of plastic waste that caused the collapse of our house, and I used that as a motivation to start UpCycle Africa. In 2015, I joined the Social Innovation Academy, a place where youths are empowered to start their own businesses, and together with other like-minded individuals. For example, my friend and workmate, David Mande, we joined hands in doing research and design thinking, where we went and through a process of looking through the challenges that are affecting our communities, and then we came up with using plastic waste as a resource to construct houses out of plastic bottles.
We have been on the surface of planet Earth for less than 1% of its history. However, as humans, we have caused massive destruction and really changed the surface of the planet Earth significantly. In fact, 92% of the planet activities happen where humans have a significant impact. The United Nations warns that we have less than 10 years to stop climate catastrophe. Species ranging from birds, frogs, and plants are on the verge of extinction by 2050. It also warns that by 2050, we are going to have more plastic in the ocean than fish. Here in Kampala, 600 tons of plastic waste are poorly disposed of, and 51% of the plastic remains uncollected.
So, by using plastic waste as a resource at UpCycle Africa, we are eliminating the huge accumulation of plastic waste and also changing people's mindset on the way they use and discard of plastic waste.
Using plastic bottles as a construction material for houses contributes to environmental sustainability, but also to affordable housing for an average person in a climate-controlled environment. The practice also steps in to rid communities of plastic waste litter, which local government have failed to have collected.
At first, people thought we are mad in communities when they are seeing us collecting plastic bottles. However, after constructing our first house, which took almost 6 months to construct and also doing research or learning from our failures, we were able to raise a beautiful house. And this is one of the most beautiful houses now we have. Very strong, and it was really affordable because we collected the plastic bottles ourselves and we used locally available materials to construct this house.
Today, UpCycle Africa has used this technology to construct homes in more than 3 countries on the African continent, which are facing the same problem of poor waste disposal as Uganda.
We are lucky enough that this year, 2020, though it was a pandemic, but we were awarded as a UN School of Honor Award for our good and durable houses that we are constructing for marginalized groups of people around in different communities in Africa.
David works with youth and women in communities to compact the bottles with soil in order to make what he calls eco bricks. His intention is to provide an employment opportunity to the people.
So if we are to go in a different district from where we are, like now we're in Biji, if we are to go like Masaka, we shall use the people in Masaka. We train them and we pay them for those bottles collected, and that's how we give for like jobs to others. So we pay per bottle. When it comes to construction, we have already the trained machines, but we always want to train other people wherever we go. So already trained masons, they are the trainers of the trainees. So when we're in the communities, we get other youth who are interested in our technology, so that now we engage them so that they learn this. Those who want to get to be interested in it also, they will be part. Maybe they will join. They combine the heads together. They come up with their own company or their way of how to sustain themselves with the skill already attained. And then we have different groups of people in construction. So we have the masons, we have the roofers, and those who finish the house. So the house, as I had said before, the one of 6 feet to 5 feet, it can take us around 1 month and a half when it is complete. So that's how the whole process comes from scratch to the end of the house.
Where would one specifically concentrate to collect enough bottles for a simple house to start with?
Bottles are everywhere. Only that there are some of specific places where bottles are not. Especially very many bottles are in urban centers. And so in rural areas, there are few bottles. So our clients, normally if they find out that there's bottles in the community, already they utilize that opportunity to collect the bottles in the community wherever they are, from the centers, because even different districts have small centers where these bottles are found. So if they are not there, we have other groups of people, as I had said before, like the youth, who are part of UpCycle, on contractual basis. So they keep on collecting these bottles from other places, I can say, dumping sites in towns. They go and collect these bottles from there, and also we buy from them actually, because we have given them work.
Yeah. I have seen that these bottles have different colors and shades of soil. Can you please tell us something about the kind of soil that you put into those bottles?
Okay.
That make them suitable for housing.
Okay. Normally we use anthill soil, and also we use moistured soil. Anthill soil, why do we prefer anthill soil? Because it is easily compacted. For it is easily compacted. And then if we don't have anthill soil, we use even our normal soil. But our normal soil needs to be moistured. When I say moistured, it's it is not too dry and it is not too wet. So it can easily be compacted. So that's we prefer such kind of soil. So any soil can work, but normally the preferred one is the anthill soil.
The environmental and economic advantages in this technology are enormous. Without other external factors that would lead to the removal of the structure, research shows that the estimated lifespan of the house is 450 years, derived from the time it takes a plastic bottle to decompose. That's 450 years of sustainability and affordable housing.
Normally, we prefer to use soda bottles, Coca-Cola company, this kind of bottles for a specific reason. We have Rensori bottles and other water bottles of different kinds, but we prefer this one because it is heavier than them. 1 kilogram of soda bottles, it is equivalent to 35 bottles. 1 kilogram is equivalent to 35 bottles. And then for Rensori, 1 kilogram is equivalent to 50 bottles. So you find that these ones are heavier than the Rensori bottles. So the Rensori bottles, normally we prefer them on pillars. They construct the pillar better, the pillars of the house. And then you find that also their length is a bit, I can say, shorter than this one. So you find that this one is 23 centimeters, the other one is 20 centimeters. So the wall of this house is a bit wider compared to the one of the Rensori. So why
does the length really matter?
The length matter when it comes to finishing. When you construct a house using different bottles with different length, it costs you when you are finishing the house, because other bottles will be longer than others. So it will, in terms of cement and sand, then it will be a bit so costly for the client, and which is not good for a client to lose.
So can we speak about affordability? How affordable is this house? Would a normal person be able to afford a house made out of plastic in case they collected their own bottles? And let's speak about a small cottage, a simple cottage, one room.
Okay, when I talk about affordability, it will, now that one works in the direction of me, the contractor, and you, the client. I would say the most expensive thing on this house is the bottles and compaction. So when the client gets his own bottles and compacts them, actually it will be cheap for that client. He can use children to compact them on a daily basis, slowly by slowly. He can collect bottles slowly by slowly. By the time he wants to construct, maybe she wants to construct, he will have gotten all the materials there. So what will she buy only? She will only buy cement and sand. So it will be a bit cheap for the client, because everything you got them for free, especially where you will buy other construction materials, maybe like the bricks that we buy. That one you must buy it. But the bottle, it might not be a must that we buy it, because you can still get it for free. You can still compact it on your own for free when even seated at home. That's when it becomes cheap. But it can also become expensive if you may not work hand in hand with the contractor. Maybe you tell him to collect the bottles, maybe to transport them for you, and this way you spend money. He collects, you need to pay that one. You need to compact, then again you pay the person for that, and then in the long run it will be a bit expensive for you. But where you could also make it cheap and you do these things for yourself.
So can you please tell us about the roofing? We've seen these papyrus, and then there is these tires, cut tires, black. How affordable is it, and why these particular materials?
Yes, for us we don't normally, okay, like we don't deal only in bottles only, but we deal in every waste that is polluting our environment. So we looked at a different way of how we can also roof our houses using some of the waste that could pollute our environment. So we found out that car tires can still do the work of roofing, substituting it with the iron sheets, and also to see how can we reduce this rubber in the environment. So we came up with also the rubbers. It's one of the long-lasting roofings that we have ever seen, because it's not affected by any kind of temperatures. They can say temperature, maybe you can say any kind of a bird, maybe it will be having, like, maybe it will have rust. It doesn't have all that. It's not affected by any environmental factor. So only that the roof is totally a bit expensive than the normal roofs, maybe using iron sheets, maybe papyrus, maybe grass, and any other. And it is not expensive in terms of the rubber, it's expensive in terms of the timber. It consumes more timber than the rubber itself. So that's why we found its costs being high from the timbers. It consumes a lot of timber, both I can say both timber and the nails, because the timber go hand in hand with the nail. So that's where we found its expensiveness from. Okay. Yes, otherwise it is a nice roof.
Amanya gange yenze Kasumba Tony. Omulundi gwange gwasooka okulaba ku zino ennyumba eza bottle, nali surprise, nali suubira nti eriyo enzimbisibwa bweti gye bakozesa ey'obucupa. Omulundi gwange gwasooka ozisulamu nga nzize wano eno mu kino ekifo wennyini we gwali omulundi gwange gwasookera ddala ozisulamu, nti zirina ekyenjawulo. Webakamu, ozibeeramu emisana, osobola ogisanga nga omusana ebweru gwaka mungi, naye nga munda ekulaga nti tolina budde bw'ogenda wulira bwa bbugumu. Bwe butuuka ekiro, gwe ate woosuubira nti empewo ejja vaayo. Kino ekifo kye mulaba kirina empewo nnyingi obudde obw'ekiro, naye butuuka obudde obw'ekiro zibeeramu munda nga ziriwo mu bulungi.
By constructing houses using plastic bottle bricks, communities stand a chance to curb the problem of plastic waste accumulation. Bottles that would have ended up in drainage channels and water bodies are repurposed to provide shelter at a cheap price. 450 years is a very long time for a single bottle to decompose naturally in a landfill. Therefore, PET houses help to save our environment, freeing up land for better activities that would benefit communities.